Hey guys, welcome back to the Well-Rounded Dude. I'm so glad that you're here with us today. My name is Chris. If you're new here, we cover a whole bunch of topics on this channel, such as style, grooming, fashion, the whole nine yards. But being a well-rounded dude means there's a whole lot more than just clothes and ball powder. And today we are going to build a PC. At least we're going to start to build a PC. This is the first part in my how to build a PC 101 tutorial. So I hope you guys enjoy. Alright guys, so these are all the parts that are going to go inside this case to make a badass PC. Okay guys, we're about to prep the motherboard to get it ready to go inside of the case. So what I'm going to talk about is not necessarily needed for this step, but since we're beginning, I'm going to show you what you're going to need right away. First and foremost, you will need a number 2 screwdriver. I have an electric one. These are pretty badass. I would recommend you guys getting them. They're about 20 bucks at Walmart. They make more expensive ones. They make cheaper ones. But this one will get your job done. A mechanical number 2 screwdriver. Some of these parts that we're going to be putting in will need to go in by hand first. And your electronic one is going to be too much at first. You can tighten it down later. I'll explain that when we get to it. Also too, one of these handy things, this can magnetize your screwdriver. That's important. You know, we've moved past the age of where magnets are, at least magnets that of this caliber, are bad for PCs. It comes in handy when you're going to put a screw in and you drop it. And believe me, you will. You'll probably see me do this a ton of times in this video. Where it comes in handy and you can pick it up. And what's great about these tools is it'll magnetize your screwdriver and you can demagnetize it. Another thing that is super important, you won't see this in the video because I'll be wearing it around my ankle. This will protect you from static shock. These parts are very important, very susceptible to static electricity. What I recommend you do is, if you live in a carpeted environment, is just touch a metal part or a metal piece in your house or on the case, and you will be fine. But in the off chance, wrap one of these around your wrist or around your ankle, connect it to something metal, and you'll protect yourself from static shock. And most importantly, your parts, because the motherboard and the CPU are very susceptible to static electricity. And last but not least, you may or may not see me use this. It depends. We have pretty good lighting around here, but I may need to, once we get inside the case, see a little bit more. Just a headlamp so you can see what you're doing. More light is always better. And before I forget, lots and lots of zip ties. These are going to come in handy later. Your power supply, pretty much, probably your motherboard too, and your case will all come with zip ties, but it's always good to have extra. I always keep a bunch on hand just in case. Okay, so the first step in building a PC is prepping the motherboard. That's what we're going to do. We have the Asus Prime X570 Pro. So we're going to take it out of the box, and it's always good to keep the bag that the motherboard comes in. You can use the box as a static-free workbench, which is what we're going to be doing. Now, we've already opened these to take a look at the parts and to make sure everything was right. So that's why no bag. And there's a bunch of other parts and accessories that come with it. Put those off to the side for now. We're not going to need them at this point. Also, guys, remember, try not to touch any of these parts. You can short them out. Your fingers have destructive oils, yada, yada, yada. Don't touch any of these parts. Try not to. Remember, this is a circuit board. Okay? So try to touch like a plastic or metal piece. Okay? And then, twink. Next, it's time to put the CPU on. Alright guys, so we pushed our motherboard out of the way for now. We're going to unbox our CPU. This is the AMD Ryzen 3900X. So, box cutter. So guys, this is going to be the most delicate part of this operation, is putting the CPU in. It's very important that you get it done just the right way. So, taking it out of the box. It's a big box. Here's your chip. There's more in the box, don't worry. So, there's some instructions. Don't put those too far away because you might need them. And then this is the fan. Now, I personally believe that if you are going to use this, and depending on what you're going to use the PC for, you will want to use a water cooler instead of a stock fan, in my personal opinion. But the owner of this PC has decided not to. But if you guys are going to be doing video editing, playing video games, doing any sorts of leaving this computer on at all, I would definitely look into water cooling over these stock coolers. Okay, guys, this is a very important piece. When you're unboxing this, leave this plastic piece on for now. If you can see here, it's going to be kind of hard to see, I think, but this is what's going to touch your CPU. This is what keeps it cool. You don't want to disturb this this heat sink. If you do, you're going to have to clean it off and apply new heat sink. That's a pain in the butt. So definitely leave this plastic piece on until you're absolutely ready to mount it to your motherboard. All right, guys, this is going to be the most important part of this process, where you have to be very delicate. All right, so right down here, this is where your CPU is going to go. What you want to make sure you do is flip this lever, push it up. Okay, now this is where you have to be extremely careful. All right, you want to make sure that it gets right down in the socket right away. You want to make sure that consult your instruction booklet also. If you're confused, because you only want to do this once. I know for a fact that the Ryzen section that's marked on the CPU is supposed to be pointing this way. But you want to line it in. You don't want to force anything. And just drop it down like that. After that, CPU installed. Now that our CPU is successfully installed, now we got to put this big behemoth of a fan on. So now's the time to take this plastic piece off. All right, make sure it's in the way that you want it to go. Because remember, we're going to be seeing the computer, or seeing the motherboard like this. So you want to make sure your writing is up like that. All right. It's a little bit different, but installed. I'm going to make sure that that's locked down, and then this way it won't move. Okay, next we're going to install the hard drive. This is one of the M.2 drives by Samsung. They're about the size of a stick of gum, really, if you guys even remember what sticks of gum look like. But very easy to do. They're installed on the motherboard. Very powerful, very fast. Okay, and inside we've got our M.2 drive. This is a 2 terabyte one. What's great about this motherboard is that there's a slot for 2 of them. We're only putting in 1 today, so we can always do another video on a upgrade. Instructions. Guys, it's always important to take a look at the instructions in case you're questioning something. This video is going to go by very quickly. But to be honest, we've referenced the instruction manual a few times already behind the scenes. So always double check. You know, measure twice, cut once. That's a good rule of thumb to live by. So inside of your motherboard box came some M.2 screws and expanders. So we're going to, you can just put these in by hand. You know, measure out. It comes with 4 different sizes because M.2s come in a few different sizes. We know for a fact it's the 2280, so I'm going to just put that in. Okay, make sure it's snug. Then you're going to take your M.2, slide it in. You'll hear a little snap, and then you want to push this down, and then you want to take your screw, and then you want to place it down there. So we're going to install our memory. You always want to consult your instruction book because sometimes you can just put 2 sticks of RAM right next to each other. This one in particular, unless you're putting all 4 in, we're just putting 2 in. It's going to go in slot A2 and B2. It's the 2 gray slots. Make sure to press the switch back. Press both of those back. That unlocks your slot for your RAM. And there we be. Now we're ready to toss this beast inside of the case. And that's how you prep a motherboard. Alright guys, part 2 will be coming very soon. We're going to get this PC build underway for you, okay? Spoiler alert, it's already built, and this video has been edited by this PC that I'm building. So, coming soon, part 2. But in the meantime, please be sure to like, subscribe, comment, share, please. Help me fight the YouTube algorithm. Check out our website, thewellroundeddude.com. Be sure to visit our merch page. Dude15 gets you 15% off your total purchase. All right, and we will see you in the next one, guys.